Hey, good morning. This is Christy Mattoon from Mind Rewire and Beyond Heart Coherence. I'm sitting outside just watching the sunrise. There's great benefits in being in the early morning and the late evening sun. So I sit here, they call it sun gazing. I'm sitting here doing my sun gazing. And then remembered somebody had asked me this question and I needed to get it answered. So I wanted to share the question with you because it was a really good question. She asked, that because of the stressful nature of her husband's job, if she ran that issue through the toroidal fields, if it would give him benefit. If she did it, would it give him benefit? And this idea of the toroidal fields is something you'll get when you do the course that I'm teaching right now on the 7 laws of the universe, or work with me privately. It's an extension of the ladder of awareness that I was taught by an angel. So it's kind of evolved and grown in the last number of months. But that was the first part of her question was, if she does it, will it benefit her husband? And the second part was, what kind of benefit do people get if you stay in the practice? Does it affect people around you? And so I would have to say yes to both of those. It will help him and it'll help anybody around you. But think of it in a manner of what level of emotional feeling you're in, right? What is the vibration you're putting out? Basically, what does it equate to? Because whatever you're putting out in the field is what you're attracting. That's interesting. So always think of it, right? We go back to the 7 laws, and then you start asking yourself, okay, so what is it that I'm putting out that's attracting a husband that's stressed out? And then, he has some input into that, obviously, because he's putting out whatever he's putting out that's attracting a job that stresses him out. So my husband also, I know this all too well. But to the level that I can stay in peace is the level that he manages peace when he is around me. Does that make any sense? And eventually it helps them move into something that hopefully would be more peaceful if they can discern well and pick well, and choose well, right? So you can always think of the idea that, what is the way I'm feeling or is the practice I'm doing affecting people around me? Think of it in tenses of vibration. So there's the old metronome experiment where somebody had taken a whole bunch of metronomes and set them equidistant apart, equally apart around a room. And, I don't know how many it was. It was 50 or 100 of them. It was a lot of them. And a metronome is a musical thing that it ticks back and forth. It keeps time, right? Tick, tick, tick. And the pendulum that moves back and forth it just keeps going back and forth, right? Once it's set in motion. So they put all these metronomes in a room, and then they went around and just hit the pendulum on them and got them moving, and they were all just swinging willy-nilly all over the place, and they're watching them across the room. And the thing was to see how much time would it take for them to get synchronistic, right? So what happens is the higher value emotion will bring everything into synchronicity, right? We see this in offices all the time. The strongest personality brings the office into synchronicity. And I'm not saying synchronicity necessarily in a good way. It can be synchronistic to, an anger emotion. Everybody in the office is angry. Why? Because the strongest emotion was anger, right? Everybody in the office is happy, so it's a happy office. Or, maybe there's a few that are still not synchronistic, but if they stayed there long enough, they would probably come into alignment with it. And that's typically how it works. I would say look up that metronome experiment and just watch that. It's really interesting. It takes a little while, but eventually, and you can watch to the very last one of them when it finally pops into the same field. And it's the field of energy that, one of them, the strongest one, was moving and created a wave, and then the ones around it caught on and they all started bobbing the same way, and then the ones around that caught on and they all started bobbing the same way, right? So you can watch that, and it's super interesting, and that's basically how it works. So if you're staying at peace, if you're staying at rest, if you're staying in a happy place, then the idea is probably your spouse will too. Now you start wondering at some point if there's something, deeper going on or something more that needs to be worked on when you find that you either can't get synchronistic. So if I'm happy, he's upset. If he's upset, I'm happy, right? We're in polar opposite places. So then you have to start thinking, okay, what is the signal that's being sent out? Start thinking through the 7 laws and working at it from that angle. What is the rhythm I'm in? What is the vibration that's being used? What is the thought pattern that's going on? You get the idea? But you definitely will affect it. I bless you. I hope this helps.